Hello guys. So before I talk about Panic at the Disco's new album, I have a little continuation of the librarian apple story thing. So a couple weeks ago I talked about how I got yelled at by a librarian for bringing an apple into the library, and I forgot to tell you about the next part of the little story. So a couple days later I was walking past the library at lunch eating my apple, and there was a little book drop thing, so I put my apple core in there just for the librarian so that she'd find it. And no, I did not appreciate her yelling at me, because I really didn't. And I really enjoyed doing that. I'm generally not a very rebellious person, so this is quite uncharacteristic of me, but I really enjoyed doing it. Anyway, so, next week I'm going to talk about Rebecca Black and her obnoxious little Friday song, I think. So yeah, if you like that whole little thing, then you can look forward to that. So, in I think July of 2009, Panic at the Disco announced that Ryan Ross and John Walker were leaving to form their own band called The Young Banes. A year later, they released this album called Take a Vacation, and it was alright. It was basically just a huge ripoff of the Kinks, the Beatles, and the Beach Boys all mixed together. And as good as those bands are, we don't need someone to just, you know, do that all over again, because it's already been done. But just recently, this week, Panic at the Disco released their new album, Vices and Virtues, which I bought because I love them. And I think that they did a much better job of like reinventing themselves as a band than the other half. Which was surprising to me, because the half of the Young Banes, the half of Panic at the Disco that left in interviews had said that like the two people that stayed in Panic at the Disco didn't really help with the songwriting or anything, and they were just like, oh, I don't know, when they were writing songs and they had to do all the work. But I felt that as far as songwriting goes, the Panic at the Disco half did much better. So the first song on the album was also the first single that they released. It's called The Ballad of the Mona Lisa. I like the first little part. It has sort of like this dark, like tinkling little, okay, so first there's like these little tinkly chime things, which is kind of cool, like a music box, and then it goes into the sort of dark, you know, kind of, I don't know, like this was a lot like their first album. It's sort of like, you know, darker, emo-ish sounding, not all happy. There is a sun shining really bright through my window, instead of like the happy sunshine stuff on Pretty Odd. Yeah, so I liked the dark, ominous kind of feel of the first part, but then the chorus was just kind of like a little pop song, pop rock, whatever you want to call it, and it wasn't that good. The second song was called Let's Kill Tonight. One thing I liked was the kind of little ghostly melody thing they had going on. It was like, and it was kind of cool, you know. The song was called Let's Kill Tonight, and there was like this little ghost thing going on, and that was kind of fun, I thought. But as a whole, the song wasn't very good, I felt. So the next song is Hurricane, and I kind of like this one, because I like the beat and the little clap things that they do. I've got notes written on this paper, that's why I keep looking down. But, you know, the chorus just kind of goes to the little pop thing that they always do. Always was kind of different for Panic at the Disco, because it was just kind of like a nice little like love song, which is different from the stuff that they've done generally. And I like the little, it starts out with just a simple little guitar, and then it adds some little taps, and it has all these little, like, just little taps and beats, and it sounds sort of like organic, I guess. It's not really like, it reminds me of when my art history teacher was describing the Rococo art, when it was just sort of like organic and feminine and just little, you know. So that's what it reminded me of, but I really liked it. It was cute. Calendar, I don't like it very much. But there's this one line in it, and he says, I meant everything I said that night, or something. But songs like that kind of make me think, you know, I wonder if there really was some night when he said something that he meant or something, or if he's just making it up because it sounds good, you know? It's kind of mysterious and enigmatic. It's kind of fun. So the next song is Sarah Smiles, and I like this one a lot. I like the beginning. It has a little accordion thing going on. And so on A Fever You Can't Sweat Out and on this one, I felt most of the songs in the beginning had a nice little theme going on, and it was really different and cool sounding, but towards the chorus it just turned into a regular, boring, you know, just rock song. But this one I thought didn't really do that as much, and so I liked it for that. And I like, there's one part towards the middle where it just goes into a cappella, just Brendan Urie singing, and I think that it's almost too long. It's sort of like suspenseful, and you're like, oh wow, there's no music, and then at just the right time the music comes back in. So I liked that. Also, when I was reading the little thank yous and the little booklet thing, he thanked a Sarah, So, you know, that's kind of a fun little bit of trivia. So the last song is called Nearly Witches, and I liked this one a lot. So the beginning there's like French or something going on. I'm pretty sure it's a different language because I don't know what they're saying. I like the feel of the beginning, and I like the sort of layered sound and the harmonies, and I like it's kind of silly. There are just little bits of random noises, and it's just silly, you know, and it's kind of fun. I like it. I like the last part, because the beginning of the song is completely different than the second half. It's sort of like, just the tempo is sort of slower, and it reminds me, I play the piano, and I've never really been able to apply, like, very many musical things as far as, like, dynamics and musically making it yours instead of just playing the notes. I've never been able to apply very many of those things to, like, rock music or, like, normal music besides, like, classical. But there's this thing called broadening, where you kind of make it slower and, like, hesitate in between notes to make it more big and dramatic. And they kind of did that, and I thought it worked. It made it really big and dramatic, as opposed to just Brandon Urie sitting there singing about shooting up with perfume or whatever it is that he's talking about. Also at the end there's like these kids singing a line from The Ballad of Mona Lisa, which I think is really cool. I love it when people take stuff from other parts of the album and put them into random songs. I think it's awesome. It just kind of like unifies the whole album. So yeah, and that is what I have to say about that. It's definitely not as good as any of the other stuff that they did with the Young Vanes half that left. But I was impressed, you know. It was a lot better than the Young Vanes, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it wouldn't be as good. Another thing. They had these little tidbits of elevator music in between songs, and I don't know why, and it was kind of strange to me. But yeah, they made this little short film called The Overture. You should go. I always flip my hair like this because it gets in my face. It's kind of funny because I see myself doing it on camera. Anyway, so they made this little short film called The Overture, and it's kind of cool to see all of the symbolism and the connections between what happened with the Young Vanes and how they kind of portrayed it in that little short film. So yeah, go watch that, and it will be jolly good fun.